Welcome. I've got another interesting guest to ask a few questions to. I think first we'll get to please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Tony. I run a page called SliceUK. Effectively, me and my family drive around the UK, stopping off at different pizzerias, and trying the pizzas. So obviously we stick to the cheese just because that is the gold medal slice. And like I say, it's just me, my wife, my two kids, and that can be fun at times, especially when one starts crying in the mid review. But I live in Cheshire, so a little town called Runcorn, not too far from Liverpool, literally smack bang in the middle of Chester, Liverpool, and Manchester. So quite a decent location city-wise, and
so you're kind of in a good location here. You're kind of near a large amount of places. Easy driving up, I'd say, are you?
Yeah, there's a motorway called the M56, and it literally goes to Chester and Manchester, and then we've got a motorway that crosses it, and that goes to Liverpool. So we're literally, I'm about 15 minutes from Liverpool city centre, so that's my closest city, and that's where my family predominantly live. Apart from my missus's family, they're just literally spread out around the UK.
So which football team do you support, or do you follow sports?
Yeah, so I support Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah, I follow them. Used to go to the games, especially with my dad. Used to go to the matches with my dad all the time, but like now it's just extortionate amounts of money to go, so don't go as much anymore.
Yeah, all the football clubs are like that now. It's just, and they don't even care. The ticket sales don't count them, I don't think.
No, that's
it's all about TV.
Well,
so I suppose we're getting a little off topic, I suppose. We're going to start as how did your page, I suppose more of a page than a YouTube channel, how did it start?
So probably about 4 years ago, I used to do photography for independent businesses. So there's a company in Liverpool called Independent Liverpool, who were an online blog, but they just wrote scripts and stuff on businesses based in Liverpool, mainly food. So I just got into that. I started taking photography for them, sending them stuff, and then they just asked me about doing blogs and stuff. So I got involved in the blog, did my own thing. Thought I'll go down the road of doing my own blog just based on Liverpool. And then I kind of realised with companies that I work with, obviously every single place that you go to, they want you to write good things. And I'm not necessarily, I would never put a company down, but I can't lie at the same time. So I found a lot of blogs, online food blogs, were just kind of PR, free PR. So you were just doing PR for the restaurants. And like I said, I just couldn't do it. So pizza has been like my main, say passion, but my main food love since I can remember. So I kind of took a step back, had to think what I was going to do, and then moved towards pizza. So originally, myself and one of my best mates, we decided we were going to do it together because that year he was going to New York and I was going to Boston. So it was we could get a gauge of what the pizza's like against what I'd kind of looked to as the pinnacle of pizza. We went out to Boston, did a bit of research, come back, spent 12 months of just touring UK pizzerias between us. So I think we went to over 100 pizzerias, and then we decided that we had the knowledge speaking to people. So we just decided to do a channel. Unfortunately, my mate who was doing it with us, he started a business. He started his own food business, and obviously running his own business and this alongside it. So I kind of, after a few months, I just took it on my own. So I just stuck to Instagram to build a following and used YouTube as a second for the time being, which I ran the page in December. We hit 12 months. So once I hit 12 months, I kind of wanted to have a look at the page just to see where it was going. And on Instagram, it kind of took off. So now what I want to do over the next 12 months is push the YouTube, because we've got, I think I'm just shy of 400 followers, which...
Yeah, I had your stats up there a second ago. There's your stats for both of them. So
yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, not far off 400, and I haven't really pushed the channel. That's mainly been people filtering over from Instagram, and yeah, like I say, we've over the next 12 months, I'm going to push it big time, and hopefully, the aim by next Christmas is I'd love to be doing a minimum of 2, but hopefully 3 pizzerias a week. If I can get Instagram over 10,000 followers and YouTube over 1,000, then I'd probably start doing it more. So at the moment, I do it once a week. And then we do promotions for like different pizzerias and different businesses. And like I said, we've done a few promotions over the last year. A lot of people who message us were beer companies, which is why I got into meeting a load of obviously people involved in beer and craft beer, which is where this has obviously come from. I've obviously met you through various different YouTube. Yeah, so that's where the beer come from. So they were messaging us saying, can you try and give us a shout out in your video, sending us different beers, getting feedback and stuff like that. But this year solely, I think we're going to look to companies within the pizza industry. So we did use last year craft beer companies like Frome or Froome. So we use them specifically because they provide a number of pizzerias who we promote. Hiver Beers in London, promoted them. Again, they have a pizza company go down there. So it was kind of a mix and match. A mix and match. I kind of wanted to work with them because they were specifically in the industry. So the same with Stroud Brewery, went down there. They've got a pizzeria on site. And then Castle Rock were the first ones who we ended up working with, which is up by Tom, the Crummy Beard. So we worked with them. Again, they've got a load of pubs which have got pizzas in them. So we were due to go up. I went over to Nottingham at the time, but obviously we've been in lockdown, haven't we? So a lot of these places weren't open. So we'll still work with craft breweries and breweries, but I mainly need to focus on working with companies who deal direct with the pizza industry.
Yeah, that's your kind of main core. Yeah, because there is one brewery here that does have a quite large pizzeria. Kind of that's what they open a restaurant or kind of with their brewery. It's called Rascals in Dublin. So if you ever get across, there is a place you can review in, I suppose, Ireland. It's supposed to be on the mix the two of them.
Yeah, well, the plan. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, so do you have a plan laid out? Is it in your head or is it actually laid down on paper for the channel or for your social media kind of thing?
Of where I want it to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, like say, Christmas, I want 10,000 followers on Insta. I want to hit the 1,000 on YouTube, and then that'll open it up for me to expand more, so I can bring more bigger companies in to kind of help me out, and then hopefully, like say by next year, I'll be able to push the channel more. I'll have a better backing. So I'd love to go full time. Don't get me wrong. So if we could do it full time, and when I say full time, I just mean like pumping out full time videos, so 2 or 3 a week, not as a full time job. But yeah, like I said, mainly I'd say November it kind of went big for us. So we were getting like big numbers on Instagram on some videos and stuff. But then since then, my inbox is just totally full on Instagram all the time. So I go to work, I come back, and I'm literally hammering the emails. So as much as it's obviously great that my channel's doing something, obviously it takes over my life, and I've got 2 kids and a wife. So obviously I try and fill as much time with them as I can, and then with the page. So, and people who message me and know me on there, they know I'm as reactive as anyone can be. So I can't just sit there and do nothing. I have to be doing something. So, like I say, I want to look at the channel at the end of the year. If it's going somewhere, I want to push it big time. If not, I'll probably relax a lot more and just get more on the promotional side. So I'll still put my video out once a week, but I'll probably calm it in terms of the amount of energy I give it. Because like I say, I think it's going to go somewhere. It's just where it goes now big.
Is there many in the space of that kind of pizza review? Because I know there's one big, I don't want to mention name, there's one big American who does pizza reviews and is kind of good in social media in America. But is there many in the UK?
So we've got there's 2 guys in London. One's called Bite Twice, Rate the Slice. So I've done a collab with him. So I did one in London with him. And there's another guy called Pizzagram London. So both of them, I was supposed to meet Pizzagram London, that never worked out, but I'm going London next month, so hopefully I'll get a chance to meet him. But yeah, pretty much in terms of reviewing and filming, they're probably the only 2. So I've kind of got the niche of the whole of the UK in a sense, because they're solely London based, so they only come out of London, very few occasions. But yeah, so my plan this year is every region of the UK I wanna do a pizza in it. So I'm going to Scotland next month. I've already done East Midlands. Obviously I live in the Northwest, so it's not hard for me to get a pizza review in there. And then yeah, we're going to London next month, and then I've got Southeast booked for September. So I've mapped it out to a point. It's just obviously COVID's killed everything. So certain days, pizzerias mainly open now Thursday to Sunday. So obviously I've got to book me times around that. So hopefully, like I say, I've got one sorted for when I go to London called Gracie's, which is in St Albans. So yeah, but again, they're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the only day I can do it is Thursday. So you I don't like to message companies either to say I'm coming down. I just turn up most of the time. So the hard thing at the moment is a lot of places want pre-booked. So obviously, as soon as I message, they obviously know what's happening, don't they? So
do you get recognized a lot?
In the pizza industry, yeah. So I did one in Birmingham just recently, and I just went in, and I could kind of tell that the guy wanted to ask me something, but I just ordered a pizza, and then I had to stand outside because they weren't doing sit-ins. And then he come out and he asked me, obviously, what I was like, obviously asked me if I was SliceUK, and then he just thanked me. So I've had a lot of nice messages from pizzerias lately on the stuff I'm trying to do, because obviously I'm doing the pizzas, but I'm also, them pizzerias use a number of different independent businesses as well, like hot honey makers, like say beers and stuff like that as well, pepperoni. Like you go into it and you find all these different, can be farms and stuff like that. So I'm trying to help any business that's involved with a pizzeria. So a lot of them I've been getting nice messages from them, and like seems to be from November. I don't know what happened in November, but it's from then onwards. It's just gone wild. So
yeah, you might get recognized with that hat. Someone is saying, probably. Yeah, but I'm sure you don't. Do you make your own pizza at home?
yeah, I've got a new uni oven. So obviously we haven't had the weather for it over the winter, but yeah, I've got an uni, and like I said, I've got sauces that I've already made, which obviously I'm not making them on a scale of a pizzeria, so I just make a big batch, and that's in the freezer, the sauce and stuff. So I'll just get that out when I need it, and then I'll try and use obviously what pizzerias use anyway. So I've got an Italian deli in Liverpool that I go to for certain ingredients as well. And then I think the Crummy Beard, I think he wants to do something content involving me making something, so that'll be fun.
All right. I suppose next is family and work. We'll go on to that question. What pays the bills?
What pays the bills? Job wise, I work for Warburton's, the bread makers. So I was I've been with them for 3 years. 3 years in a few months. So yeah, I was driver for them around. Had my own round Liverpool, delivering to all the shops there. And then pretty recently, I had a promotion for them, so I'm effectively like supervisor of the drivers. But so yeah, so obviously live with my wife. She's a nurse, but we've just had. We've got a 6-month-old, so she's on maternity at the minute. So yeah, she's a nurse. I'm a bread man.
Okay. What about school? What when did you leave school, or what did you do? How far did you go in school?
So I went, obviously went to school, finished school, got your basic grades like C's mainly. Went on to college, did it was called Uniform Public Services, which was a course based around stuff like psychology, crime, criminology. Finished that, did a lot with the army on that, so we'd stay over with the army, do army drills. It was all to do with discipline and stuff like that. And then I went to university to do criminology and absolutely hated it. So kind of came out of uni, went for a quantity surveyor's degree at Salford University, and the course got cancelled. So I was 2 months into that, and they didn't have the funding, or so they couldn't pay the teachers basically. So that got cancelled. So I was kind of in a pickle of where to go. Came out of that, and I went into property management for a company in Chester. So I did that for must have been four or 5 years, and I just had enough of it. So I come out of that, and I got my license just before I left. So I got me 2 HGV licenses, and yeah, started with a couple of different companies. Eddie Stobart, who I did my license with. Started with them, and then yeah, ended up with Warburton's eventually. So it's a bit of a started off wanting to be a police officer. One of my friends become a police officer and basically taught me how to go for it anyway. So I was doing, whilst I was working in property management, I was a volunteer for the probation service, working with sex offenders, basically sex offenders who were coming out of prison or due to come out of prison. So I used to go into there's a prison in Congleton in Cheshire. Been up there a few times to meet people who were coming out of prison, and you're supposed to help them back into normal life. I don't know what normal would be coming out of prison, so I don't know how I could help with that. But yeah, worked with them for 18 months, and then that got the hope was I was going to get a job for the probation, but it got privatised, so it was bought effectively bought off the government by a private company, and then it just went. They got rid of all the volunteers. So yeah, I just carried on with me property management job and then into HGV driving. So, and surprisingly, I've not managed to get a belly after driving for 5 years.
That's good. That must be interesting working with I suppose, people in prison. What was it like?
When I was, I mean, I'm 30 now, 31 now. So you're probably talking, I was mid-20s then, and you're talking these, some of them were people who'd obviously been to prison a number of times, so a lot of them were grown-ass men. So for me, meeting up with them, it was a bit daunting, but then I kind of got, obviously you've got a process to follow, certain things that you put in place. So it kind of started getting used to it, but obviously you're always on edge, aren't you? Because you've got no idea. You get briefed on what these people have done, but yeah, they're just, once they come out and it's a face, it's just effectively it's a normal person, isn't it? So it's just hard to get used to. But it was a good job. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Why did you not want to go to the police?
Why did I not want to go into the police?
Yeah. Why you talked out of it? Just curious.
Well, my mate, he become a police officer, and then he used to tell me about the job, what he was doing, and then he decided to take. It's effectively a demotion, but he become a police community support officer, which I don't know. Do they have them on in Ireland? Or
yeah, community police.
Yeah,
community
so
police.
they obviously in the UK they don't have the powers of arrest, but he left the police because he said like the jobs he was doing was just horrendous, and the PCSO, he said he had more to do. They'd send the PCSOs out to take statements, and he just said it was more of it felt more of a, he just preferred it as a job. But when he was telling me, like I said, I don't know, it just didn't. I didn't fancy it after listening to it, so I just thought I was just in a position where I had to make a change, and just literally ended up. I applied for it was called a property inspector, and then I ended up going into property management through that, and I worked. Just before I left, I got a job working for Warner Brothers. In a company called TT Games, so they make Lego games, and what was that? There's a game called Crash Bandicoot. It was called on PlayStation. Yeah. I don't play games myself, but yeah, that's what they used to make. So I ended up being the building manager of that company before, like I say, I ended up leaving because I thought it was a good job. I say good job. It was good salary on paper, a good job, but it was just I get bored very, very easily. So
would you get bored very easily? Is truck driving? I know when you're delivering bread and that it's multi stops and it's really difficult. It's more kind of more difficult than say driving on motorways the whole long time.
Yeah.
But does driving get a bit boring then for you?
So obviously I started off on class 1. I was with Eddie Stobart, so we did Tesco driving, so we just delivered to Tesco depots. That was all right. Like I say, you see people, so you back it onto a bay, get out, there's someone at Tesco, talk to them, have a conversation, get on with your day. And then I decided to go into trunking, so I was trunking for DAF trucks from Leyland near Preston up to Darlington to pick up engines from Cummins, And then literally that was 12-hour days, Monday to Friday. And I just used to listen to podcasts all the time. So I was just trying to listen to stuff. But yeah, distance driving bored me to death, to be honest with you. Like, it was the best money, but it was boring. Whereas Warburton's now, when I was there, you've got 20 to 30 drops. And because I had my own round, I knew all the people on it. So you kind of build up a rapport with them, a relationship. And then, yeah, like I said, I've literally just recently, 4 weeks ago, come off the road. So it's kind of all new for me now, in a sense.
Okay, other than, I suppose, go on to, do you have any other hobbies other than YouTube, if you count YouTube as a hobby, or was say social media, I should probably kind of put?
Not outside of what I'm doing now. Like I say, I used to have my own blog, and I was massive into photography at the time. So I do like photography and, yeah, food in general, to be honest with you. So I still, even now, if we're looking for a place to go out to eat, or we're going out for the day, I literally just try and find like an independent. So if I can find a pub or a restaurant, we'll just go down and try it. So, and like I say, the pizza fits hand in hand, because a lot of the time we booked something. So like when we went to Birmingham, there's a wildlife sanctuary there. We went there first with the kids, and then obviously went on to like pizzerias and that. So kind of, even though I'm in like Birmingham or London, I plan a lot of stuff with the family and that as well.
Yeah, I'd like to say hello to Vanessa, who's just joined us from America. Yeah, so what kind of setup do you have then for recording? You're into photography, you must have a good camera then.
Yes, well, I've got rid of my camera now to obviously do video, so I needed a different camera. But I had a Nikon D600, which is kind of, I'd say it was more of a semi-pro to like above intermediate anyway. And then, yeah, I had a couple of expensive lenses. But yeah, I sold them because I thought, because I wanted to get out of video, because let's face it now, you could take a picture of your phone of a can of beer, or you poured a pint, and your phone for social media is all you need, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
the photos I take now aren't actually with the camera, they're with my phone or my missus's phone. So I don't need a big expensive camera, but for me filming camera, it's a Panasonic D range with just a basic lens at the minute. So I wanted to, obviously I've done it for 12 months. I didn't want to put all the money in that I'd got back from my camera, just because I thought if it doesn't take off, or it's not of interest to anyone, I've kind of wasted the money, haven't I? And I found video cameras are harder to sell than the likes of when I had my Nikon, because I could sell that tomorrow online, whereas video is
kind of
not.
Video cameras kind of date very quickly, whether the cameras, good cameras, people are always interested in, I think.
That's it. Same with the phones. I started off using my phone, bought a microphone for my phone. It did to a point, but as soon as, like this time of year now, it's dark by 4 o'clock, isn't it? So your phone's just pointless. So I was having to go to pizzerias that were open early on a Saturday just to get the daylight. Whereas now I can kind of tweak the camera when it's darker, so it's not too bad now. But yeah.
Yeah, is there any difference then if you're getting a pizza, say, I don't know, early of a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon to maybe evening time of a Saturday when they're knocking out the pizzas maybe a bit more? Do you think there's any quality difference?
Oh, big time, yeah. Yeah, so I've done a couple of pizzerias, and so basically, I don't know if you've been in the Italian pizzerias where they've got the big dome and the fires in there, and they chuck them all in. Yeah. You can fit about 10 pizzas. Well, when it's wood fire, which everyone tries to get, they're hard to keep the temperature because they're being used that much and stuff's going in and out. So sometimes, like some of my favorite pizzas, you're gonna go there and it's just gonna be a below par pizza, just because if they haven't got the elements on the day, it's just not gonna work out. It's like you buying a can of beer, opening it up, and there's been a batch issue, and it's like you're not gonna hate that beer because you know you've had it before and it's decent. You're just gonna think, right, there's a problem with that. You'll tell the company and say, oh look, found a batch issue. Probably send you a new one, won't they? Same with pizza. Sometimes it just doesn't go right on the day. So I try and be diplomatic when I'm doing reviews and not slate anyone, because at the end of the day, it's an art anyway. It's hard to get right in an instant. So, like I said, I try and not. A few people have messaged me because of the scores. I don't go over the top on when I give a score out. I don't. If I give an 8 or a 9, I don't start shouting from the rooftops. I just give the score and then kind of have done with it. And I do that because the way I score it, like a 6 is good, the 7's very good. But if you give a beer a 6 out of 10 or a pizza a 6 out of 10, like say to you it's good, but to that company no one wants a 6, do they? 6 out of 10. So
No.
I kind of just give the score as if it's not really a massive thing. Yeah, that's it. It's probably important to the people who watch, but like to me, it's where I live. Most of the pizzas are probably 6 out of 10s to me, but they're good pizzas, so I'll just keep going back. Whereas if you're lucky enough, like say if you've got a brewery on your doorstep, it's happy days because you probably use that brewery all the time. Same with pizzas. If you've got a top pizza restaurant on your doorstep, you'd probably go all the time. Whereas where I live at, you're probably talking 20-25 minute drives to get a decent pizza. So which I've probably got a brewery closer.
Yeah, I don't think you would probably get a decent pizza in that kind of range around here. We're right in the middle of the country now, so most of the pizzas are from the chip and chippers, like so.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, see,
They're average. They're okay.
Yeah,
but like,
mine are kebab houses, so just basic big fat pizzas that they put in a pan that'll fill you up, especially when you've had a load of ale. Get one of them down, you soak it all up.
Hi, John Ross from America. I think he said hi to both of us. So this is a kind of beer channel. I don't know what it is now anymore. So what was your first beer, if you can remember?
I'll go with first craft, because, like I say, I think most people in the chat, either one of the parents probably got them to sup a bit of ale in front of all the family at some point, didn't they? So what that would have been, I don't know. The first thing I remember ever drinking off my own back was my dad was 40, at a 40th birthday party, and I got all my mates round and I said to them, they're all going to get absolutely hammered. So when everyone's in bed, we'll go downstairs. All the kegs and the crates of beer. We had, I don't know if you remember when cable and wireless first come in years ago, I think it ended up being Virgin. They had big green boxes where they used to have all them wires and they'd change them over. We had a massive one by us where they'd left the key in the door and they took all the wires out and it was just empty. So on my dad's 40th, we took all the ale out the house and we went and put it in this big green cupboard, basically. So every Friday we'd all meet up with this and get all the ale out, and it was a green bottle called, I'm sure it was called a Snowball or something like that. It was a white liquid drink. It was just a sweet drink. I don't know what it was, but that's off the top of my head what I remember. But if I'm saying like a proper craft beer, I went to America in 2013. I think it was. Could have been 2009. I think it was 2013. and obviously Sierra Nevada, which is Crummy Beard's favourite beers. I had one of them, and then I started. The American craft scene was huge, and that's kind of where I found the American pales. So I was literally just trying loads of them. There was a load of, like, now we get craft bars or craft beer bars, which have only really just been popping up over the, I'd probably say 5 years where I am. Whereas talking 10 years ago, America was already on it. Snowball.
So I suppose, what is your kind of go-to style? Are you into just pale ales and kind of IPAs?
No, so I like stouts and porters. So smoked beers. So yeah, that's my go-to. And to be honest, more so again, with obviously meeting the likes of yourselves and that, I've been trying to try more and more well, different breweries really. If I see a different brewery that I haven't had before, I'll just pick a can up. But I just find the pales at the minute, I don't know where the line is between like pales, IPAs, and you've got milkshake pales. So I've kind of lost myself among the pale world. But
most people are. Don't worry.
Yeah. So I try, if I go a brewery, I'll always just buy the session pale to start with, if they've got one, and just kind of work my way up through them. But yeah, I'd say if it was three styles, I'd probably say pilsners, stouts, and porters.
Okay. Do you have a favorite brewery?
So me and Tom did Chapter Brewery the other day on his channel, which is my local. In terms of buying from a brewery, it's a hard one to pick a favourite. I don't know, because it's mainly like singular drinks, isn't it? Really, that I'd probably go off. But I've literally got a local brewery within walking distance. So every Friday or Saturday, if I'm in work, I'll just finish. We'll walk down there and have a few beers. So they're the main ones I get from, because it's just easier to get cans. But yeah, like I say, I've got 2 local bottle shops that I go to as well, so I'll get stuff from there. And mainly, if I go to a bottle shop, I'll always get Brew York, because they do a lot of different stouts, so I'll tend to go with them. But again, they're probably what I've had the most over the years, but they have a lot of okay beers, is what I'd say. They do a lot of good, but they've got a lot of what I'd call filler beers, which are just good in flavour, but not great.
Yeah, but they're kind of good because you know what you're getting.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
constant.
Yeah, consistent. Yeah.
Can I ask you what's the most expensive beer you've bought?
So the most expensive was a cloud water beer, and I'm sure it was about £11. I'm sure it was. I've paid more for a 750. Is it mil? 750 mil. But if I was going straight up 440, it'd be cloud water, and it was. I just didn't like it, to be honest with you, at all. I've had a few of theirs at them prices, and they were just not my style. I tell you what, I've found recently. Me, Mrs. Mum and Dad have got a caravan in North Wales, and it's literally right by. Have you heard of Polly's? Yeah, so it's literally right by the Polly's Brewery. So I've been having quite a few of theirs lately. So I like a few of theirs.
What's the most expensive pizza you bought?
Probably St. Tapio's in Boston, which was £24. Well, $24. So in pound, it probably worked out a bit less. But yeah, so trying to think because I've had a couple of full Americans here as well. But yeah, for about £24, £25.
So not too expensive then, because some pizzas
No,
can be quite expensive.
yeah. To be honest, they tend to mainly be between £10 and £15, so it's not too bad.
Okay. What's one pizza style that you would eliminate? And we could swap pizza then, and we could say beer style. So one pizza style you eliminate completely.
Jesus Christ. Probably Chicago style.
Okay. What
That's
beer
a
style would you?
what beer style?
Yeah.
Probably craft lager. Because I can't remember that. I mean, I'm drinking one now. To be honest with you, I'm drinking the Innocent Guns lager, but probably I find a lot of craft lager just not great. To be honest, so I'll probably go
Yeah,
more.
I think you want to go to kind of some of the German beer, some of the, if you're going for that kind of crisp,
Yeah,
sharp, I think they make the best kind of them, Held or something like that.
yeah, like
Um,
a yeah.
what makes good pizza?
Depends on the style, but like for me, um, regardless of the style, it's got to be the baker's got to be um, bang on. So I'd rather have an overcooked pizza than an undercooked, simply just because obviously it'd be doughy. So if it's Neapolitan, I don't like. I mean, I get. Do you know what? I've had so many messages from Italians, whether it's in Italy or the UK, get so much stick. But effectively, Neapolitan is just the basic round, really high crust, aeration right through. And in Italy, they eat it with a knife and fork. They don't slice it. Whereas in the UK, they've adapted it to be. Obviously, we have a lot of delivery pizza over here. Same in America. And there's nothing worse than a sloppy pizza. But like I say, I get stick from the Italians all the time. Always sending me the Italian flags and two fingers and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
So
it's different. They're not the same. What you
it's a
get in
bit,
it's
yeah,
they're different things. They're not the same, and they
yeah. It's a
shouldn't.
lot in Italy. It's a lifestyle. So again, I don't know whether it was the same year, but we went over to Italy to Florence to try, well, obviously not to try pizza, but on holiday. And we drove around the region there to Genoa and Pisa and stuff like that. And it's a way of life out there. They literally meet up as big families, so they can sit down and eat with a knife and fork. Whereas here, we want everything on the go, don't we? So it's whether you're at home or even when you're out, you go and get a takeaway. So everything has to be adapted, and it's the same in the US. A lot of their stuff is gatherings at home or at events, which is the same here. So you want to order a pizza in, it's got to. If you order Neapolitan, it's not going to survive, is it? It's just going to be as flat as a pancake when it comes to you. So, if there's any Italians in, I do apologise.
I don't think so. Square. Okay. We're going to music and movies. What music you into?
So I'm into. I'll give you. I don't know if you're going to ask me, but my favourite band is Bon Jovi. So I've toured. I say toured. Me and my dad have been to watch them all over the UK. Again, like I say, it was passed on from my dad. So as a young lad, we used to go down to London and stuff to watch him. So it's kind of, I'd say more like the classic rock era, like your Metallicas, AC/DC, stuff like that. They're more mine. But at the moment, I literally just listen to a lot of country music. Because, well, mainly when we went to America, country music was huge. And then we've got family in Canada, so when we go and see them, everything's country. So yeah, I just found especially because I was driving, I used to listen to a lot of hard, like heavy metal or rock. I used to just not be stressed out, but like a bit tense. And then I just started listening to country music when I was at the wheel and that, and just chilled me out a lot more. Although if you asked me why, she'd probably tell you I was one of the most tensest people in the world.
What kind of country? So is it kind of like American country, or we
Yeah,
want to go?
Yeah, so a
Because
mix.
it's different. But
Yeah, so I like. You've obviously got the old school country, which mentions whiskey in every single song, or cigars. So all that type of stuff. But you've got like the newer music, like the newer country and that now. So there's a guy who I listen to a lot called Blake Sheldon or Shelton. I listen to a lot of his stuff. Yeah, so I've got a good mix, to be honest. There's a radio station called Absolute Radio. Well, I don't know if you get it over there, but it's Absolute Radio. They've got their own country music called Absolute Radio Country Shock. And there's a guy on it who his name's Balin Leonard. He does the morning programs and one of a weekend, and he follows the page. So I got talking to him a lot of the time, and then ended up listening literally. So mainly because of him, to be honest with you. So he messages me because he's American. Obviously, he's after like an American pizza fix. So where he lives in London, there's a Detroit pizza place called Detroit Pizza London. So I kind of sent him over there because I know the guy who runs it as well, or I've got to know him. So yeah, country
yeah, just
music.
want to ask you the types of country, because if you say country here, there's kind of more old school traditional
Yeah,
music, and then you've got the new kind of American kind of more poppy. I say
yeah,
pop, but you know,
it is
yeah,
pop.
that's all.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
do you know another thing? We came over. So we came over to Dublin, and country music there is huge. But again, it's their style, so it's very, very fast guitar bands. Maybe it was touristy, I don't know, but basically that type of music seems to be all over the city to draw people in.
yeah, but
So
you've got the Garth kind of the Garth Brooks kind of music. I don't like to mention
yeah, yeah.
that kind of yeah. Next kind of question is always a nice question to ask everyone because they always answer differently. Do you wake up happy or sad?
So I am a morning person. So usually, if I'm not in work, I'll wake up around 5:30. So if you ever get a message off me on Instagram, think, what the hell is he doing at 5:30? I don't know what it is, but from a young age, I literally can't sleep past 6 o'clock. So normally this time of night, I'm groggy as anything, falling asleep on the couch. But in the mornings, I literally, as soon as I open my eyes, I just get up. So I'm not one to lie about. And my missus says all the time, just stay in bed, but can't do it. Once I'm up, I've got to be doing something. So I'll be making a shed load of noise downstairs. That's the type of person I am. Heavy-footed as well, so get out of bed, bang on the floorboards all the way down the stairs, wake everyone up, and yeah, put the kettle on, which I've got at it's basically for pouring coffee. It's like a spout kettle, and it's so friggin' loud. The buttons on it that you press, it's literally, I don't know who designed it, but it wasn't. It must have been deaf.
Wasn't meant for when you have a 6-month-old in the house and you making a load of noise. No. What's your earliest memory? And describe it to me if you can.
What, from anything?
Yeah, what's your earliest memory? You got to have some really vivid early memory.
Yeah, so I'd probably say I must have been 5 or 6, and I've got a bike for Christmas, and obviously, as you do when you're younger, you go out on your bike, all your mates are out, you're all showing off the bike you've got. So we're riding around. There's this, where I lived, there used to be a bridge, and it turned from a bridge into a hill, dropped down into a subway, and then into a housing estate. So you could, obviously, when you're a kid, you want to go as fast as you can. And when I tried to turn the handlebars, my dad hadn't tightened them up. So when I tried to turn them, obviously there was nothing there, and the wheels just span. And I just rode straight into this steel fence and split my chin open. So I had blood everywhere. All my mates had to run up and get my mum. And yeah, my mum is very dramatic as a person. So the smallest of scratches, she'd probably scream the street down. And yeah, she did that day.
Yeah. What gives you joy in your life?
What gives me joy? Well, I think joy for everyone probably changes week to week, doesn't it? So we all chase happy things. I mean, obviously your family and stuff do at times, but to be honest with you, half the time they do me head in. But I'd like to say this: the stuff lately. We all like to hear nice things about yourself. So the messages I've had lately from companies have been good. For me, I always need something to do. So whether it's this or something else, I've always got to have a hobby. So I literally just, when I'm in on anything, it's 100% all in. So it's like now, obviously it's pizza. 5 years time, it might be something else. But I'd love to, like coffees. I've never mentioned this before, but outside of everything, I'd love to open a coffee shop. Like me and the missus have had it for ages. So, but yeah, like I say, week to week, my joys change. To be honest with you,
I think this must be some of your followers. I don't recognize the evening anyhow. Thanks for joining.
who's this? Always a red.
Who's the most important person in your life to follow on? And you can't mention any pets.
Can't mention
human.
what?
You can't mention pets. It has to be human. Unfortunately.
I mean, again, you're supposed to say your wife and that, aren't you, at this point? But that is.
You always say your manager at work.
It's what?
The manager at work, I thought, is the most important person in your life. But I could be wrong.
It depends what one. There's 3 of them, and I don't like 2 of them. No, I'm only messing. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've got my kids and stuff like that, but I've been with my missus since I was 15. So we've been together since a young age. So everything we've done, and like I say, for me, I change tactics like the weather. So it's literally just week to week, I'll find something to do or something different. And to be fair to her, she just follows me everywhere I go. So we were, from the age of 18, we both started traveling together everywhere. So she's my little companion, which I try and mention in every video, just to make people aware that she's actually there. But yeah, probably say me missus. If not, excluding family, my best mate again. I've been best mates with him since 12, 13. So again, same with him. A lot of stuff that I do outside the family is solely with him.
Shark, he doesn't cook pizza in a microwave. He cooks it over a candle by hand.
Oh, that's funny. Microwave pizza, Shark. You can cook it in the oven, mate, so don't put it in there.
Okay. What's the meaning of life?
What's the meaning of life? Friggin' hell. I feel like I'm on Jeremy Paxman here. Jesus Christ.
I ask this to everyone. You should know this. There's 40 interviews on my channel.
Right. Well, the meaning of life to me, like say again, going back to the previous question, if you're not doing anything you're not happy with it, just move on. At the end of the day, it's we all have a short life. It's just for me, like say, I'm quite impulsive, so once I make a decision, I kind of just stick to it, give it my best, and then move on. So to me, it's just whatever you're doing, whatever you're in, learn while you're doing it, get the best out of it, and then either move on to something else or bring something else in. So if it's like say if you're doing beer reviews and you feel like they're going stale or you think like you're repeating yourself over and over again, speak to breweries, see what their interests are, what they'd like to see, and then yeah, bring different things in all the time, keep it fresh, and yeah.
Are you intelligent?
I mean, I've got intelligence in certain things, so like say on paper, there's always some more intelligent than me. Am I better at stuff than certain people? Yes. Are they better at stuff on certain things than me? Yes. So intelligence, to me, I'd just deem that as something that you're actually good at. So, like I say, people have, when you look at quizzes, someone will mention a category that they're good at. That's just because that's an interest to them. So if you ask me about a Liverpool team 10 years ago, I'd probably know more about it than I do now. So yeah, intelligence to me is just what you've learned, and if you fail to learn it, then it's not of interest to you.
Okay. What's the last time you cried?
Last time I cried was probably 2 years ago. Well, 2.5 years ago when my first daughter was born. Didn't cry when my second daughter was born for some reason. Don't know why. My wife reminds me of that pretty much every day. But yeah, last time I cried was when my first daughter was born.
So, do you not show emotion very easily then?
Depends what emotion it is. Frustration, I show that pretty easily. Like I say, I'm probably a worrier in certain aspects. So I kind of sit on things. I like to keep stuff to myself. And like I say, if someone asks me, if I'm in a mood where I've kind of kept my emotions in, then I just want to be left alone. So, and obviously, certain people don't like to leave you alone, do they? So, if they step in at the wrong time, then I'm probably a proper moaning ass to some people. Plus, I've got a miserable face anyway, so I don't think that helps. My face doesn't tend to show emotion, happy or sad. I just mainly look miserable regardless. So I'm very dry. I have a very dry personality. So yeah, some people don't get it. So sometimes if I say something that's supposed to be funny, some people probably deem it to be offensive.
Okay. Crummy Beard, what's that? How did you like Toy Story?
Yes, I mean I still do. So I've got tattoos of Toy Story characters. But yeah, like literally loved Toy Story. I can't remember whether they celebrated like an anniversary pretty recently. I'm sure it was like 25 years or something like that. So yeah, absolutely love it. If the daughter's up, that's what's going on the telly. Any one of the Toy Stories, she gets asked one of four. That's what she gets a choice of usually.
Did you experience any bullying growing up?
Not really. Say bullying, I suppose we've all been bullied in some type of way to a point. What I would say is there's probably older people I probably never stood up to, kind of followed them. But when it was my own age, I kind of like to be front and center, whether that's not as a show off, but I kind of like to keep friends close and just make sure they were all right. So if it was ever older people, I remember I went camping years ago with the school, and he was an older lad. Well, he's probably the same age, to be honest, but obviously he was just more developed in terms of size, and he was a bit of a bully, and I kind of let him not bully me, but obviously he knew he was bigger, so he could kind of push us about. So we played football on that day, and I was a pretty good footballer. And as soon as he got the ball, I just absolutely poleaxed him. So I just thought that once he was in my domain, that was it. He was having it, and never seen him again. So we got the bus home. So never had any issues after that.
That's a good way to sort it out.
Yeah.
Lowest point of your life?
Lowest point would be when my mum and dad split up, probably 15. It was just coming out of teen, so it was probably between 15 and 18. And like I say, I was big into, at the time I was playing football, semi-pro, and training with Chester Football Club. And yeah, so I was going through them splitting up at the time, and then it was an age where, obviously, again, with friends, we just discovered drinking and stuff, drinking on the streets, prattling about. So I had a mix of kind of having to grow up but not wanting to, and then yeah, they'd split up, and obviously I'd known they'd been there all my life, hadn't they? So it was kind of going through a change of them not being together. So I'd probably say that point.
Do you think if you hadn't really discovered drinking things, you might have went professional then if you were that semi-pro at that age?
Yeah, maybe not professional, because at that age I probably wasn't 100% disciplined for it. But yeah, I think maybe 13, 14, if I hadn't have gone out with my mates, and maybe we just had that influence there, because the area we lived in, it wasn't, I mean, we were big on football, but it wasn't like serious, if you know what I mean. So I was never pushed, like my dad had never pushed me in a certain direction. He'd just let me go at it, and if I didn't want to do it, he'd give his point and just leave it. He'd never force me. So maybe if I had a bit of a sergeant major or someone to guide me, maybe I would have gone on. Like I say, the level I was playing at, I probably could have played in the lower leagues for definite. But yeah, like I say, it is what it is, isn't it? That time, I had my time, and it never happened. So
yeah. What makes you really angry?
What makes me really angry?
Yeah.
People who don't indicate. That cheeses me off. If you don't indicate at a roundabout, I don't like you at all. But yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know what it is, but since I probably turned like late 20s and turning 30, I'm not bothered by anything anymore. So much stuff used to wind me up. But then as soon as I had my first daughter, I kind of just sat back and just thought, like, why am I so not angry with the world, but why does stuff bother me that much? So yeah, I don't get angry. Say angry. Obviously, you do at home, but outside of the house, there's nothing that really phases me anymore. It's just something might irritate me for the point, but I'm just at the point where I can walk away. Whereas when I was younger, I used to be a bit of a motor mouth in terms of couldn't let an argument go, hold a grudge. But now I can just say my piece, shake hands with whoever it is, apologise if I need to move on.
Have you ever been arrested?
Yeah, I have, yeah. So in terms of being arrested and being sent to prison, no. And the same, I've not spent a night in the cells either. So I was out on a night out, got into, well, I never, one of my friends got into a fight. We got put in the back of a police van, police car it was, and I was in with my mate and he was crying his eyes out because he said, obviously, think you're going to jail and all that at that time, don't you? Well, really, he probably just dropped us off home. And yeah, I discovered that the door was open. We were in handcuffs, ran all the way home, so from Warrington to Runcorn. And yeah, I had to go to my dad's. Lucky enough, my mum and dad weren't together. And yeah, my dad had to hacksaw the cuffs off. So that was a fun time. I mean, my dad wasn't impressed. Why I went to my dad, I'll never know, but he's the only one who could have got him off.
Yeah, that's interesting that you just run away. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Were they hard to get off?
It's what?
Were they hard to get off the handcuffs?
Well, he was for me. But my dad, he's a builder, so he just he had like a hacksaw at the time. He split them down the middle first, and then yeah, he had to take them off with a blade, which was scary on its own.
What's God's plan for you? So you can take the question however you want to.
So I'm not religious in any way. I don't believe in God at all. Like for me, it's more of a conscious state. So I just think we've all got our own level of consciousness, and we've all just guided in a certain way. So I'm a big believer that like it is what it is. What will happen is kind of already laid out. So whatever my life is, that's what it's going to be. Obviously, that comes from my. I'm going to guide myself through it, but I just think it is what it is. Wherever I plan on being in 10 years is what it's going to be. I've had that many, wouldn't call them setbacks, but that many changes in my life. I'd like to just say the point you're going to be at is the point you're going to be at. I could die tomorrow, or could die when I'm 90. It's just, but if there is a God, at the end of it, hopefully you get to meet them, and then you can tell me off for not being a believer.
Okay. What makes you laugh the most?
What makes what?
What makes you laugh the most? Sorry.
To be honest with you, I like silly stuff. So like the Toy Story stuff, like tattoos and that. Again, I've said to you, I don't take anything too serious anymore. I like to be around good people who share the same visions or the same, like who get me. So like say I'm very dry sense of humor. So to meet new people, it can be hard. So a lot of the time, me missus will explain that I'm joking. But if it's on a personal level, I'll try and watch stuff that. So Jim Carrey, he was massive, like from my childhood, growing up, even to now. A lot of his films, I used to just like watching them, just because it is what it is. He's similar to myself in terms of find him quite dry, but he's hilarious. So anything like that. Trying to think TV wise at the minute, but yeah, I like characters in life as well. So I mean, you being in Ireland and stuff, you'll see them everywhere. Just like people you'd never be friends with these people, but when you watch them when they're out and about, there's a guy. I was in Liverpool with my dad in a pub called the Midland, and it's literally a shit old pub. They just serve you basic beers. Everything's cheap, probably watered down. There's a guy. He had a black hat on, and it's pointed up and then pointed back, so it looked like he had a triangle on his head. But he had a half a pint of Guinness, and it was like coned at the top. So he had half a pint of Guinness. He swirled this pint of Guinness round, tipped it up on his head without anything coming out or tipping down. And then he kind of just put his hands out and he like jiggled his hands. And then he leant his head down and took the pint of Guinness off and drank it. And I thought, I would never have seen that guy anywhere else in the world. So, yeah, I just like characters, people's personalities.
Yeah, you certainly meet them in some of the pubs. The more low key pubs, to say.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You go in them type of pubs, that's where you're going to meet them.
Yeah, I seen it was a meme the other day. The old men want all the people to stay out of their pub because that's their pub. What's the most embarrassing thing you've looked up on the internet?
Fucking hell! If someone checked my internet history, mate, I'd probably be in prison.
Come on, then.
Most embarrassing thing.
Yeah, it's gotta be something that you've looked up on the internet. That's pretty bad.
And I'm trying to think outside of the obvious because
Pornhub is pretty obvious, so you mentioned that.
So that is a tough one. I literally couldn't name one off the top of my head. Like I say, I wouldn't want to say anything to do with porn just because, I mean, I can't be that ashamed because we still go on it to this day. So,
okay, if you move on then, what's weird about you?
What's weird?
Yeah, what's weird about you? There's got to be something. There's always.
Well, again, it's. I don't know how you take. Like say, I'm straight-faced, absolute miserable faced, dry. Got a Toy Story sleeve. I mean, it doesn't get much weirder than that, does it?
Well, that's weird, kind of having I don't want to call it kids but an anime tattoos on you. Would you not think so?
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. That is, I would still get it today. People who I work with ask me all the time. You can tell sometimes they want to ask me like, "What the hell have you got a Woody tattoo to your arm for?" Which people have asked me. So yeah, like I say, just depends what you determine weird. I mean, someone would probably say, "What the hell is that guy doing sat in his house in the drive with a cap on?" That might be the other thing.
Well, Jack Howard says you're definitely weird. So if Jack says you're weird, it must be.
Yeah, it must be. It must be.
How many times a day do you check yourself in the mirror?
Check myself in the mirror. I mean, my missus probably tell me all the time, but I've got an obsession with my teeth, so I constantly floss, brush my teeth all the time. And then again, mainly like my missus has got like perfect skin and she puts cream on her face all the time. So I thought I hit the age of 30 and I had a wrinkle in my head and I thought she's got some decent cream there. Just think I look older. She puts it on and looks younger. I put it on and I'm just aging. So quite a lot at the minute. Quite a lot.
Okay. What's the last song you sung to yourself? So when no one's around, what's the last song you sung?
Not with. So the last song we sang was I was literally about 20 minutes ago just before this, putting the daughter to bed. There's a country song called "Why You're Always Crying," and when my daughter cries, because kids just cry for pointless reasons, we just sing that to her. So she started crying before, and we just sang that song to her. And then she sings it back. She stops crying and then asks us to dance around the kitchen. But the thing we're doing lately, have you seen the film The Full Monty?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do the Black Scouse guy, I forget his name. He's out of he's in Brookside. That used to be a UK TV program. I forgot his name, but he does they're all sat in a room and he comes in and he has to dance to get in the band. And I seen it on TikTok, and he does that song, do the mashed potato, do the alligator, and my daughter started dancing to it. So she just listened. We put that on all the time, but when I show her when she's older what it was actually out of, it was out of a male strip film. I think that could also be determined as weird as well. So put that down on your weird list.
Scouse wants to ask you, what karaoke song is your choice?
Yeah, so we had this the other day, so it's bloody hell, my mind's blank now. The song by the Killers. My mind's just blanked. Yeah, come on.
Okay, I can go back to it.
Yeah.
Do you listen to other people's voice?
Do I listen to who?
Do you listen to other people's voice?
I mean, I listen. Do I take it on board? Maybe not. Like I say, I'm more of an individual in terms of I just do my own thing. My dad tells me all the time I never listened, so yeah, probably not. I like to say I'll definitely listen, but I probably wouldn't follow it.
You probably say you're fucking Egypt for, I shouldn't swear my own dream, but you're Egypt for telling me that.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first paycheck?
Do I remember it? Yeah. I worked in Lidl warehouse, obviously the supermarket. So I worked for them while I was at college, and that was for two shifts in. You used to get 160 quid before tax. You used to get £80 a shift, Friday and Saturday. So
okay, do you remember what you spent your first paycheck on?
It was I'd borrowed money off my nan at the time to get myself a little car. So I had to pay my nan back. So I'll give my nan. I think I'll give her pretty much all of it, to be honest.
Do you ever get instant buyer remorse? So you buy something really expensive and then you go, that's absolutely useless. There,
Oh no. I'm more, like I say, I'm very impulsive. So once I've bought something, I'm moving on to the next thing. So I've already forgot about. But what I do is like clothes and that. I've got a rule that I don't spend. Like I collect caps, new era caps, and like baseball caps and stuff. And if I'm buying it for myself, I won't spend over £15, and that's the same. I have a rule on t-shirts and that as well. Same, £15, whatever it is, whatever the brand is, I just won't spend it. So, but in other aspects, I'll just, like a camera, spend £1,000. Yeah, I won't spend 30 quid on a decent t-shirt.
That must be hard when you try to buy some decent pair of shoes or.
Shoes are different. So I only wear black shoes. Well, black trainers. So this has got. You should have asked me this. Everyone could just shout that he's a weirdo in the in the comments. But yeah, I only buy black trainers. So I will spend money on them, but I'd probably say I have a cut off of about 50 quid for trainers. But yeah, and I'll only wear 2 makes of jeans as well.
Why?
Just
I have to ask you why.
Just comfortable. I just brands. So like say New Era, I normally buy the New Era caps, just because I like the fitting on them. T-shirts used to be SliceUK, but the new ones don't fit me anymore. So I don't know what they did with them. But jeans, I just buy Levi and Lee jeans. That's it. I am a weirdo.
Have you ever tried any exotic meats?
In the urban areas, what a guy.
Have you ever tried any exotic meats?
So I've had crocodile,
Okay. Yeah.
ostrich meat. So exotic, I mean, that's out there, but yeah, there's certain types of meat. I mean, I don't know whether we have it over here, but in America they do like buffalo and stuff like that, don't they? So that's
Yeah.
So I've had stuff like that when I've been over. Yeah.
Do you know how much money is in your bank account right now?
It depends what bank. You'd have to name me. If you can give me savers account or me main account. Yeah.
Your current account. Current account. That's all.
Yeah.
Current account. If you can.
You want me to tell you how much is in it?
Yeah.
Probably. So what day are we on? So we're only on Wednesday, so it's before payday. So in my main account, like I say, normally money goes in, and then we'll put it all in. We split it off into savers accounts. So it's probably about £1,000 in it in the main account, something like that.
Okay, that's good. That's okay. Question: are you making any plans to change in the future? So you're going to change anything in the future?
In terms of what myself or just stuff we plan on doing?
No, yourself would say. You talked about your channel or your social media.
Yeah, so I mean, the main thing for me at the minute is like me and my missus were big travellers, so obviously for everyone the last 2 years we haven't been able to do it, and I still continued to just keep booking holidays in the hope that we could go away somewhere, because I've driven across France, Belgium, Poland, Germany, Holland, US, Canada. So I just want to do more of that, to be honest with you. We're driving over in May, driving over to France, and then we're going to drive across Belgium into Holland and stay in Holland for 2 weeks. So like for me, when I'm not in work, I don't want to be in the house, to be honest with you. So when I book the week off, I just want to be away. But the thing that we have done since the lockdown, I never had a holiday in the UK other than we used to go to York, maybe a weekend away. But I've not had a proper holiday in the UK until lockdown. So we've obviously managed to discover a lot more places in the UK to stay. So we'll probably mix it up a bit. But yeah, I want to, because I've got kids and that, I just want them to see as much, not necessarily of the world, but just different things. Like say that when we're doing pizzas, we take them to zoos and stuff like that. Like the oldest daughter, she loves animals, so again we're going to go over. Tom give me a place near Sherwood Forest. They have I don't know if it's a zoo or a farm or something like that, so we're going to go over to Derbyshire way in a couple of weeks. And yeah, so it's mainly just to get out and travel and all that. You don't have to spend a lot of money when you're there. It's just to be in the area and be around it. And that, I like walking, getting out. I've got a dog as well, so when we go away, I like to take him with me unless we're flying, which is why I did a lot of Europe, because you can drive over.
Has that changed since Brexit, or are they still accepting the passports for the dogs?
Yeah, so it has. It's the same. So the only thing, we've got to carry a blood test results, but that's it really. He's still got his passport and that. It's just we have to just follow the basics as usual. He's got to have some injections and that when we go out, and then he has injections over there, but they do them right near the ports anyway. They tend to have vets on the way in, so you can just get your injection or your tablet and then on you go.
Joey has a question for you. Have you ever been in a hovercraft?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, there's somewhere, I can't remember. It might be Southampton or Portsmouth, somewhere on the coast down there. You go on a hovercraft over to one of the islands. I can't remember what one I went to, but it was, sure it was down Southampton way. It was one of the islands off Southampton. Went on one with my dad over to one of the islands.
Wasn't the one that used to go from, was it Southampton or somewhere to France? Wasn't just like, it was down south somewhere in England. It used to go from England to France, hovercraft. That could be ages ago.
Yeah, it was an island just off one of the small islands, but I forget what it was. Like I said, I was only young, but I've been on one.
What's your worst memory?
Worst?
Terrible. I put terrible. You can put worst.
I mean, if I'm going on a family-wise, I mean, the first time, I don't know if you've been in a situation like, but the first time you see someone dead is absolutely horrendous. So, never seen anyone but my nan. So that was freaking horrific. But yeah, if we're going on, I don't know. Are we basing this on emotions or just stuff that's happened?
Well, is there anything that sticks out in your mind as that was truly awful?
Well, I'll go back to my nan's situation, right? So this is how like morbid I am and how dry I am. Obviously, my nan's died and she's lying in the hospital bed and stuff. I've never seen a body in my life. So the doctor asked me to hold her hand, and he basically told her she can still hear you. Obviously, she can't because she's dead. But I held her hand, and it was just floppy. So I don't know why. I just like I shook her arm, like I thought, shake her arm, and the whole arm was floppy. And I looked round, and my family are just looking at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" But I just thought, I haven't got a clue what I'm supposed to do here. He told me to hold my nan's hand, who's dead. It's like, what are you supposed to do? Absolutely not. So I had a little chuckle to myself after that, like, what the hell were you doing there? But yeah, that was pretty horrific.
Can I ask what age you were?
It wasn't that long ago. I was in my early 20s. So that's what I say. To go, I mean, majority of people have lost people by that age at some point. But yeah, seeing a dead body is just absolutely weird. Freaked me out, but like I say, I kind of took my own humour out of it, which is normally what I try and do.
Yeah, you're lucky you're not Irish, because if you go to a funeral here, you'll see a dead body pretty easily.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Ghosts, probably not. Maybe. Again, that goes back to what we were on about before. Just like, to me, it's like everything's like a consciousness. So, yeah, could spirits, maybe. Ghosts, probably not.
What's the difference?
To me, I'd say a ghost is something you could probably see, whereas a spirit is more of a feeling. Someone might determine that differently, but that's what I'd say. You kind of, a bit like having deja vu. You kind of go to a place and you feel like you've been there. Like if you're in a room, you kind of get a sense that someone's in there with you, type of thing. But again, that could just be you being paranoid.
Or me being paranoid the whole time. Are we alone?
I mean, some people are alone, yeah. So it depends what aspect you want to go down. But in terms of loneliness, obviously there's a lot of lonely people out there, but you can be just as lonely in a house where you're not happy as well. So am I alone now? No. Could I be in the future? Possibly, yeah. And if we're saying alone in terms of futuristic aliens or whatever, I mean, I'd love there to be, but until it's proven, then I can only go off facts, can't
I? Yeah. So next question's kind of building on that one. You went down a whole different path from everyone else.
I'm not. John's
You
not
believe
alone.
in aliens?
Do I believe in aliens? Personally, I mean, I wouldn't call us aliens, but I think half the time we're trying to find stuff that has already been found. So I just think we were probably found millions of years ago, and we're the alien that we're trying to find. So there's got to, if we're living on this planet now, there's got to be something living somewhere else, hasn't there? We can't be the only one. But again, until we've found it or someone's got it there as a fact, then at the minute, no, there isn't any aliens. But as on a pet, like for me, just believing it, I just think we're the aliens and we're just trying to find something that's not there.
Okay. Drugs?
Have I done any?
No, that's the question. That's up to you.
Drugs, I have smoked weed. That's literally as far as I've ever gone. So I've not touched any other drug.
What about the beer? What about the beer you're drinking? Is that not a drug?
It depends. Again, if we're going on solely non-lawful, then no, it's not. Is it a drug? Yes. Same with smoking, same with sugar.
Yeah.
But if we're going outside the legal aspects, I don't really associate with anyone who's. If someone took hard drugs that I knew, I just wouldn't associate with them personally, and that's not on a personal level. That's just because I wouldn't want it around. I don't necessarily judge them as a person for what they do. I just can't physically be around it. But like I say, if we're going off alcohol, cigarettes, sugars, and stuff like that, then there's so many things that we are addictive in their own way. Eat and drink. Coffee is another one. Absolute addiction. Well, say coffee. It's not coffee, is it? Like the caffeine aspect. So there's loads of stuff we have that we become addicted to. Try and remove sugar from your diet. Try and do that and see how you last. You think I look miserable now? I did a week. There's a book. Don't know if I've got a thing. There's a documentary and a guy basically cut sugar out his diet and he created a book. Jesus Christ, I've never been so lethargic after a week in all my life. Never again. Can't give up sugar.
Legalization of illegal drugs. Yes or no?
I mean, I'll be honest, not got the knowledge of saying yes or no to it. But what I would say is, in terms of making it a business, would it benefit most things? Yes, which it has. When we were in Canada, they just legalized cannabis farms and obviously the sale of it. And obviously it was generating billions for the economy. So is it good in that aspect? Yes. And obviously it takes a lot out, so crime and stuff like that, it can remove a lot. But obviously you're still going to have the side effects that are going to affect people, aren't you? So like for me, just if you're going to legalize it, you're still creating the same issues. So it's what you want. If you remove the crime, do you benefit? Yes. If you leave it in, you're still not going to benefit, are you? So probably not. But like I say, if they did, I wouldn't have it anyway.
Okay. When was the last time you were rejected?
Rejected, Jesus. So if we're talking female wise, I was after this girl. So we're not going down the female aspect.
We go down whatever aspect you like, but it could be work, could be friend said no, I'm not going to the pub.
I get that. I get that every weekend. If we're going go off a female first. So I was trying to get with this girl for absolutely ages. Erica, her name was. Used to go to school there, and never. She wasn't interested in me at all, and that was, like I said, that was me rejection. I'd like to say me first ever rejection, but it wasn't. So rejection in other terms. I say funny story. Went to Glasgow on a night out just before lockdown. So we decided we were going to have a big lads holiday. It was because that's 2.5 years ago, 2 years. So we went out and literally my mate had found this craft beer bar, and a guy used to have a hairdresser's, and effectively it just didn't make it, type of thing. And rather than just give the business up, he decided to open it as a bar. So we kept all the chairs in and the mirrors and just put a bar at the back of it. And my mate had wanted to go to this bar for so long, and we walked straight up to the door, and it was only 4 or 5 of us, and just got turned away. Said we were too drunk. We literally hadn't drank anything. Not long been in Glasgow, and he turned us away. So my mate was devastated.
Okay. First car and first mobile phone.
So
if you can remember.
Yeah, my first mobile was from Free. What was it called then? Was it Free Pay or something like that? And it was a flip phone. It didn't have a make. It was just the Free phone, and it had a camera on. So my mate he'd had a Philips block camera for years, and that Nokia with Worm on that game, he had it for years. I never had a phone for ages, and then when camera phones come in, all that type of stuff was kind of my thing. So I ended up getting that. My dad owned a bus business at the time, and it was his business phone, and he gave me it, and made some crazy videos on that, I'll tell you. And then first car was a Renault Clio P Reg, and I literally, every time I got a car, I got the exact same. So I think I had either 2 or 3 the same model. Might have been like a bit younger, but my Mrs. Dad's an electrical engineer, and he likes to work on cars, so he just found them easy to work on. So I just got Clios for that reason, because it saved me an absolute fortune in getting it fixed. Because for some reason, every time I bought a car, it needed a new drive shaft. So I must have been hitting curbs at some speeds at times.
Hi Scott, how are you doing? Let's go back to school. Did you have any nicknames?
So I had, when I first started playing football, I had an Irish football coach called Shay, and he used to call me Blondie. So because I had literally either Blondie or the Milky Bar Kid, because my hair was effectively white. So that's he used to call me Blondie, mainly because he never knew my name. he'd always forget my name, so he just called me Blondie. And then my second name's Hodgkinson. So people just call me. Dad's called Hodge. No one calls him by his first name, so some people call me that, but really most people just call me obviously by my name, Tony. So yeah, never had a nickname that stuck with everyone, that everyone knows you by, just certain people.
Any teacher that inspired you? You can say no.
Well, I'm just trying to think, because obviously you get different things. So I had an English teacher called Miss Yates, who, I mean, I never used to do any work for her, to be honest with you, because I could get away with pretty much everything. But she used to get me to write poetry and just put words down on a piece of paper. And it's probably because I was a little shit. And she probably just wanted me to get stuff on paper. So I'll probably say yeah.
Okay. What's on your bucket list?
So if I go off pizza, the plan, I'd already booked it, so I was supposed to, well, not booked it, but it was getting booked. So we were going to fly into New York, obviously stay in New York, do New York, drive through to New Haven, which is effectively what we call the pizza capital, and then drive from there to Boston, and then do Boston. So pizza-wise, I'm hoping that's going to be next year, because we've got family who live in Boston, so we'll stay with them. So that is definitely on the agenda. And on a personal level, I'd love to drive from one end of America to the other, and probably with, like, obviously because I'm into country music and that at the minute, probably go to like Tennessee and Nashville and stuff, and maybe stay there for a couple of weeks and just take in all that has to offer.
What's your absolute dream job? Not that your current player isn't brilliant, but if you had a dream job.
Well, like I mentioned it before, I'd love to own a coffee shop. So even whatever scale that was going to be on, whether it was just a small local coffee shop, I'd love to do that, and then just work for myself and just earn enough money to get by.
Okay. What's the last lie you told?
I mean, I just make stuff up all the time, so you'll never know whether half this interview is real. But I mean, my missus is literally in the room now laughing because she knows. What I would say is I don't lie. I like to exaggerate. So if there's a small story to be told, there's no point in boring everyone with the details. You might as well add certain things in yourself. So I just say I've got an imagination. Let's just say that.
What's the last thing you Googled?
Last thing I Googled, let's have a look. So the last thing I Googled was sea crack seasoning, which is so there's a guy who owns Sea Crack Seasoning, and he creates sea salt based seasoning for like barbecues in the pizza industry and stuff. So he messaged me about doing some work with him and whether I could put his logo on some of my videos. So obviously I've just had a Google just to read about his company.
Okay. If you're standing in front of your 16-year-old self, what advice would you give him?
I mean, my missus just said run. But yeah, not just standing in front of me. I mean, I say this, I've got a niece there, she's like 18 now. The pressure that is put upon kids in general is astronomical. So when you go to school, it's all about college, and when you go to college, it's all about uni. There's no end goal. No one tells you what's going to happen in life. And like I say, it is what it is. If regardless of what you do or what job you do, I mean, you're going to know loads of people who are doing what they deem as dead-end jobs or jobs that they don't enjoy. Like for me, I'd work any job so I can enjoy my home life and what I do at home. So, like I say, with the truck driving and stuff, I used to get every hour I could get just so I could do all the stuff that I enjoy at home, which is to an extreme to a point. But like for me now, I just rather than have a job that I fully enjoy, I kind of have a job around my life. So whereas I used to think money was the be all and end all, it's just like, say, being at home, being with your family, with your friends, and actually doing stuff and not missing out on much. So I'd rather work less in a job that I didn't 100% enjoy. But I'm sure there's some people out there who are completely driven on work is everything. Whereas for me, like the stuff with the pizza, photography, like from everything outside of work is what I deem to be my life. Whereas, like say, some people might want to give up the life balance to hit it big time in a career. So each to their own.
Okay, very good. Thanks. How would friends describe you in 3 words?
Miserable, funny, loyal.
Okay. If you were, let's see. Next question. That's not the next question. There's it here. Who would you want to be stranded on a desert island with? And what 3 items would you bring?
God, there's too many. Let me get this girl's name. 1 sec. I mean, my missus will absolutely kill me here, but I can never pronounce her name because she's absolutely sublime. So Amanda Seyfried or Seyfried, the name is. She's absolutely stunning, and I'd literally buy 3 items from lovehoney.com and have a nice week or nice life, one or the other. But if it was not someone I fancied, which obviously I wouldn't meet the lady because I'm happily married. I mean, I'm big into like old school wrestling, so I'd love to just sit down with someone like Hulk Hogan or someone like that and just ask them about, because they must have had, I know like rock groups like Metallica and all that went around the world and probably have 175 kids each. But like, again, from a kid, that's what I was big into, like WWE, WCW. So I'd love to probably like to sit down with someone and talk about that type of stuff. Maybe not on a desert island because that is a bit out there, but yeah.
Okay. Are you a clean or messy person?
Again, it's like total different aspects of personality there. If I'm in work, I'm a clean freak, so I like everything. I like to know where everything is. But if you put anything down in this house, it just gets put somewhere where the house looks clean. So normally I'll come in from a review, put my hat down, put my camera down, put my microphone down, and then I forget about it until the next time I need to do a review or edit the video. So then I've got to go and ask the missus where it is. So when I'm at home, more of a slob, probably not, but just my missus does everything for me. So I'm kind of mollycoddled.
Okay. Are you introvert or extrovert?
Again, it just depends what it's on. So a lot of stuff in general, good or bad, I keep in and I keep to myself. So I'd probably say introvert.
Okay. What's the craziest thing you've done for love?
For love, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been with her for 15 years, so I must be somewhere on this crazy scale. Don't know. I'm not really a romantic or anything, see. So I'd probably not done anything of note. But again, I'm a boring face like this. It's not really, doesn't say come and get me, does it?
Okay. If you had a warning label, what would it be?
I mean, now it's not too bad. When I was younger, it's probably just may explode.
Okay. Let's see. Go for one last. Yeah, this one. If you were a superhero, what superpowers would you have?
Probably invisibility, because I'd love to. I mean, back in the day, I'd love to have been in a room with the way I used to be, with people who probably hated me, and I'd just love to know what they were saying.
Okay. And we'll go for final question. I think this one. We're going for an hour and 50. So, if you could share a meal with 4 individuals who are dead, who would it be? And we can go with celebrities or we can go with families. So, whichever you want.
Who were dead?
Yeah.
So 2 of them would be me biological granddads, because I never met any of them. I have got granddads through obviously remarriages, but I never met any of them. My granddad, my dad's dad, he was apparently like a really good baker and a cook, which is what I like to do at home. So a lot of people always tell me I'm a lot like him. So yeah, I never met him, so he'd be one. My other granddad, again, apparently he was like people tell you like he was vicious and like a horrible person and stuff. So I'd literally just like to find out who he was. Dead, in terms of trying to think outside of family, really, because no one wants to know about my granddad, do they? Trying to think musically, really, who I've kind of listened to. Probably Elvis Presley, just to find out if he really did die on the shitter or not. Get him round, just ask him. And then try and think. So if I'm going back to, can't think of a fourth. I'm literally just going to make one up for the sake of it. So I'd like to say, yeah.
Okay. We have John has a question there for you, and we'll let that finish then.
Do you like hot sauce? If so, are you more the hot side or the taste? So I don't know if John Ross is from the UK or not, but at the moment,
He's American.
is he American? So we'll go on the hot sauce. So if we're going American style hot sauce, I'd go for the heat instead of the taste. If we're going over here, our hot sauce type, it kind of varies to the palate, because we don't really eat hot food in the UK. I know we have curries and stuff, but yeah, I'd probably say if it was American style, definitely more on the hot, because I mean, outside of the normal pizza that I eat, if I was going to get one on my own and not share it with anyone, I'd order the spiciest pizza on the menu.
Okay, I'd like to say thank you first for coming on and answering the questions, and secondly, everyone in the chat put questions in, put comments in. I really appreciate it. Sorry if you're if it wasn't read out. I put most of them up on screen. We answered a few of them. Thanks to everyone. Yeah, see you next time, and cheers.
Nice one.
Okay.